Hey everybody, welcome back to the Court of Random Opinion. My name is Lauren Neidigh. I am still learning something new every day. Unfortunately, as hard as I tried to give people the benefit of the doubt, Blake Lively and her attorneys have, in fact, proven me wrong. They are actually that fucking stupid. So I'm gonna have to go over this really quickly with you guys, just so everybody knows what we're talking about. This lawsuit that we looked at last night. Hang on. So this was brought up by Without a Crystal Ball, and it's shady because it's like an old company that was not I think it was defunct or inactive by Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were used to file a lawsuit against John Doe's, and this is apparently where they got the subpoena to get the information from Jonesworks, which had all the messages between Abel, Baldoni, Wayfarer, whoever. And I thought surely this attorney for this esteemed law firm was not so fucking stupid to go along with this. But now one of Blake's attorneys has confirmed, in fact, that they did do this. So if I'm reeling a little bit this morning, it's because I've learned that people are, in fact, just actually so dumb, in addition to evil. Okay, so I'm going to just show you guys this really quick. If you didn't see it last night, we're not going to go through it. I'll just show you what we're talking about here. So here was the summons and complaint. You can see it's filed against John Doe defendants 1 through 10. There's no actual name in here. And here's their excuse for it, which, as you guys know, I fucking hate citing the Daily Mail. But in this case, they're not pretending it's an anonymous source or anything like that. They're quoting Lively's attorney, Ezra Hudson, directly. So we will go through what they had to say here and why that's also very stupid. Hey, everybody, I see you in the chat coming in. What's up, Bruce? Okay. So they're talking about this lawsuit used to get a subpoena. So they're quoting Ron Zambrano here, who had talked to recently both Popcorn Planet and the Ask Two lawyers. So he said, this is a sham lawsuit generated for an ulterior motive, which can be sanctionable for a waste of judicial resources. They intentionally did this to really work in a very surreptitious and clandestine way. It's super shady. Okay, maybe Ron didn't talk to Popcorn Planet. I'm not sure. It could have been this guy. I'm not positive. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting that wrong. But anyways, Popcorn Planet has also had some attorneys on recently. So let's see. The experts pointed out it's highly unusual that a firm would sue its own staff or representatives without apparently even knowing who they are. So let's see. Litigator Keith Davidson, a co-host of Ask Two Lawyers, a legal podcast that has covered the Baldoni Lively case, said it's very rare to sue only Doe defendants. It doesn't make any sense to me. All right. So we're just going to skip down to what they said here. And then he also said on the fact that it's on a vague complaint, the whole thing appears to be a fig leaf. Okay. Lively's attorney, Ezra Hudson, said, Doe lawsuits are common and entirely appropriate legal tools for pursuing claims and uncovering the identity of unknown perpetrators of unlawful activities. The problem with that, you sweet dumb bitch, is that you did know the identity of the perpetrators in this case. So how is anybody this stupid? All right. The lawsuit unearthed the Wayfarer party's documented plan in their own words, in their own text messages. Again, that is not what happened. To destroy Blake Lively. Their faux outrage has nothing to do with legal ethics or the law, which are not at issue here. Are you fucking kidding me? And is entirely about the fact that they got caught doing something they insisted would be untraceable. Dude. Oh my God. The way that this lady is like picking words out of context that like don't even mean what she's trying to say they mean. Hudson was backed by Los Angeles-based attorney Lincoln Banlow, who said it's not unusual to file a lawsuit against unnamed defendant if the plaintiff doesn't know their names yet. Again, what gives? For example, in defamation cases against anonymous social media users. Banlow said Lively may have just used Vanzin to avoid attracting media attention. Well, yeah, because they knew it was fucking sketchy. That's sketchy as hell. Tea Drinker says, oh my God, the gaslighting is nauseating. Yeah, I know. they didn't smear her. That's correct. I just listen. I didn't want to believe it, and I was like, "There's no way these lawyers are this stupid that they would just go along with this." And here we are. Millennial Mom, thank you for the $10. Can this be proof of malice? Did you see Brian Friedman responded? I have not. I'm just reading through this right now. Like I took a break from work and I'm going through it right now with you. So I'll if it's in here, we'll read it. If not, then I'll look for it after we're done here. Thank you. All right, let's see. Vanlo said Lively may have just used Vanson to avoid attracting media attention. If they were trying to stay a little bit under the radar with this, it's not surprising, he said. There's nothing unusual about using this kind of mechanism to uncover who's doing things you believe are improper. Okay, but there was no uncovering to do here. That's a lie. That's a lie. They already knew who they were going after. I mean, they already did. One of them texted. I don't remember if it was Melissa Nathan. I got the text message. I don't remember if it was from Sloan or from Jones. That was basically saying like you're getting sued. So everybody involved here, I believe, knew like what they were talking about and who they were suing here. I'm probably not articulating it correctly because I'm a little bit flustered by how ridiculous this is, and I'm like, my brain is kind of like breaking at how are you actually this dumb? Not even just this dumb, but this awful. Okay. Until DailyMail.com's discovery of the Vanson lawsuit. Yeah, let's pretend you were the one who discovered that. That's great. That's great. Of course. Of course. So, like I said, Katie Joy, without a crystal ball, had brought this up last night. Of course, if you missed the stream that I did with Leanne last night, I'm putting out a Dropbox with all these lawsuits, documents and stuff that I have from their company lawsuits that I had looked into a while back, because I had seen this before, but I didn't connect the dots. But I think it's hilarious that the Daily Mail is now trying to take credit for that, because I'm like, dude, like, obviously, like, we had somebody who broke the story last night as far as like, this is where the subpoena came from. And now they're like suddenly saying, oh, we discovered the Vanson lawsuit. This is why I hate the Daily Mail. Anyways, I don't see them citing her anywhere in here so far. Let's see. The timeline of the courtroom battle between Lively and Baldoni appeared to begin in December when she filed a California Civil Rights Department complaint and a federal lawsuit accusing him of sexual harassment and retaliation. Lively claimed he had acted unprofessionally on the set of the domestic abuse movie It Ends With Us, in which the pair starred, and Baldoni also directed. She also accused Baldoni and his team of publicists of launching a smear campaign against her amid the release of the film last summer. Baldoni filed a countersuit in January. Both parties deny the allegations against them. Okay. We already know all this shit. Okay. Tammy Hashiyama, thank you for the $2. Exhibit 1 for the Wayfair parties, Your Honor. Yeah. God. This shit is so crazy. So does that make it legal what they're doing? Are you saying this subpoena will hold up? Please say no. I'm certainly not. I think this is ridiculous. But I would encourage you guys to listen to the Ask Two Lawyers, to Omar, to Cassidy O'Connell. I'm sure Leanne will have some thoughts about this as well on their thoughts, but I don't think anybody's really on board with that. I don't think anybody's really saying, yes, this was okay. Totally. This is fine. No, this is weird. This is weird. And again, my business is not like legal procedure, right? So I'm interested in sort of the implications it has just for the public and public opinion and how that kind of affects other people. And in my opinion, even if they can skirt the laws on this one, I'm going to say the same thing I said about the New York Times. Even if they can skirt the laws, this was absolute bullshit. And it just shows a huge issue with like people who have money and power exploiting the systems that are meant to help the rest of us for their own gain in like nefarious ways. So even if you tell me for some reason, like Ezra Hudson and that other lawyer are trying to say it's fine, even if you tell me it's fine, I can clearly see that it's not. Because sometimes even if something is legal, it doesn't mean it isn't bullshit. Like, you can cheat on your wife, you can cheat on your husband, that's legal. It doesn't mean you're not a piece of shit, you know? Amanda Sherbert, thank you for the 10. Girl, been missing your live feeds. I just wanted to pop in and say hi. Got to go back watching EFL game. Keep up great work. I'll be watching Ching after game. Love you, girl. Thank you very much, Amanda. I appreciate you. All right. All the lawyers know this is weird. They are robbing citizens of due process. Yeah, very weird. Very weird. Okay. DailyMail.com's investigation has since revealed that the dramatic legal war had quietly been in the works 3 months before Lively publicly sued Baldoni. Sorry, I'm reading it like that because I hate the Daily Mail. Okay. Let's see. Responding to Baldoni's countersuit against her last week, Jones vehemently denied leaking the message and claimed they were subpoenaed, and this is the subpoena they were allegedly given. Jones' attorney, Kristen Toller, told DailyMail.com that her client did not leak, but rather complied with a legal court-ordered subpoena. Ms. Jones provided materials to Ms. Lively's teams in response to an October subpoena, said Toller. Why would Ms. Jones fight a subpoena when she had nothing to hide? Okay, so you don't want people getting that information. That would be one reason. It's just smart. And I refuse to believe that this woman is so stupid that she wouldn't run this by her attorney before releasing that information if this was really the case the subpoena came from. Because this case, this sham case, was filed on September 27th. The subpoena was apparently in October. Some people said October 1st. I'm not sure if that's right. But regardless, it was in October. And if she got handed this subpoena, I refuse to believe that she is so dumb that she now would not run that by her attorney and try to fight that rather than, just hand it over, because she even had, I believe they said, an attorney with her when they were letting Abel go and they were going to take the stuff off her phone and laptop. So really, the breaking news in this story is that everyone is so fucking stupid, and I really did refuse to believe it. And I don't just mean stupid in a dumb way. I mean stupid in a way that you really thought you would get away with this. No one would find it shady at all, and it wouldn't be a problem. Jesus. So does this affect the New York Times article as well? As this obviously is the same subpoena they used for that article, is it not? It appears to be the same, yes. As far as does it affect the New York Times as well, I would encourage you to go listen to Omar talk about that a little bit. And then also Anita from Reddit was on last night, and she had a lot to say about all of this that was super important. And but as far as does it affect the New York Times lawsuits, I can only tell you what I think about the lawsuit. I can't really tell you the legal details of how that will affect or not affect it. So I don't want to give you any wrong information there. So unfortunately, I can't really answer that question, but I can point you in the right direction to where you can get that question answered. So Anit Kaur, I don't know if I said that right. I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Thank you for the 10. Hello from Singapore, and keep up the good work. Well, hello. Thank you for joining us. All right. Alexandra says, does it affect anything at all? I'm worried this will do nothing for Blake's team. If they could somehow spin it in a way that it is seen as legal, but I don't see how that's possible at this point. This was very clearly nefarious. So I don't really see how they could spin it in a way that it wouldn't matter at all. But Omar did say last night this could absolutely gut their case if it was true. So this is not good for them. I don't think this is good for them. They can spin it how they want, but if this goes to a jury, they're going to question all of them. Yeah. Kayla Dunn is a law student. Thank you, Kayla, for joining in. They knew who they were suing by the date on that text. Subpoena is a fraud for this current case. Yep. That about sums it up. Hey, Zach. Credible news agencies are supposed to validate every piece of evidence that's used in an article. Yep, you're right about that. You're right about that. Okay. So yeah, I don't see how this could not affect them in some way. If not in the court, which again, I don't see how it could not affect them in the court, but if not in the court, people will at least see more of what they're doing behind the scenes and how shady this was. And again, this has to be why Stephanie Jones was fine showing the subpoena to the Daily Mail and showing the subpoena to another news outlet, but not letting them show the subpoena to the public. Yeah, something's off there. But yeah. Okay, let's see. However, Baldoni claims at least one person knew what was on Abel's phone in August, more than a month before the subpoena was issued. He claimed that an August 21st phone call, Lively's publicist Leslie Sloan boasted to Nathan, yeah, so it was Sloan, okay, that she had seen her text and that Nathan would soon be sued. If Sloan already had the text by August 21st, it would mean she received them weeks before the subpoena from Vanzen was issued. And also in August, in a parting missive to Jonesworks, Abel said, I've enjoyed working with you both and wish you nothing but the best. Unfortunately, your company phone says otherwise, an unidentified staffer said. Oof. Wow. Yeah, so I think I remember that from one of the filings, but that's so crazy. Let's see if... I don't know if he's responded to this yet. Somebody said he had. Does anybody know where he reportedly responded? I know somebody in the chat had said that he had. Can a company that dissolved in 2013 file a lawsuit? Is that even legal? Again, I don't want to say I know for sure the workings of that, but apparently they, did something with the company after it after it being defunct for a while. They did something with it apparently during the break from filming because of the strikes, which is totally not shady at all. So, Brian called this an abusive process. There's supposedly a statement he made to the Daily Mail. Let's search that article and see. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Glad everyone can see my targeted ads here. Okay. Okay, I think this is probably it. Yeah. The filing allowed her attorneys to issue a subpoena for the embarrassing text and then drop the lawsuit, all without Baldoni's team knowing it even existed. Yeah, here we go. Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, told Daily Mail, this appears to be an end around, skirting the process, to be able to secretly get these documents without having to give anyone notice. That would be an abusive process, and we intend to take all action allowable under the law. Yep. Friedman said he had no knowledge about the lawsuit until DailyMail.com contacted him to ask for comment. Of course, Daily Mail took credit for that. Lively's lawyers said the newly uncovered lawsuit was common and entirely appropriate, and accused Friedman of faux outrage. And that's where we are quoting, they started quoting her attorneys down there. Okay. Court papers show the shadow lawsuit. I wish people would stop saying shadow campaign, shadow lawsuit, but at the same time, it's like this kind of is that. So, all right. Accused up to 10 unidentified individuals, but did not specify what they did wrong. I mean, it kind of did. It was just a sham, They have participated and may continue to participate in efforts to harm plaintiff, including by failing to act in plaintiff's best interests, taking actions to their personal benefit at plaintiff's expense, failing to freely communicate with plaintiff regarding matters that impact plaintiff's business and reputation, and disclosing to third parties and failing to keep strictly confidential plaintiff's confidential and or private information, reads one of the typically vague sentences. It was pretty vague. Nowhere in the suit submitted by New York attorney Samantha Katz does it name any person on either side, allowing the case to slip unnoticed into the legal system. Okay, let's see. And it kind of outlines the timeline. So I'll put a link to this article, obviously, in the comments. When we're done here, I'll pin it so you guys can read the whole thing if you want. I think that was all the lawyer quotes, though. I still can't believe they're just like out here like, oh yeah, we totally did that. Well, if that was the case and you had no problem with it before, why wouldn't you just say that before? Why were you still hiding it underneath all this shit? So that doesn't make sense to me. Hold on. Riley Jr., thank you for the 5 gifted. I appreciate you. Okay. I think a couple people said thanks, and the people that got it have a cute little white notification up top saying gift from Riley. Oh, that's the memberships. Yeah. It will notify you. Yeah. Hold on. Did something go wrong? First time I've done it. I don't know how it actually works. Well, I think it went right. Yeah. It looks like it went through. Okay. So, if the plaintiffs in the Shady lawsuit are Vanzin, who allege breach of contract against 10 does, for there to be a contract, Vanzin must know the 10 does. Well, yeah, I mean, Vanzin had nothing to do with any of this. So it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. So I just, again, like I said, guys, I didn't want to believe that attorneys would do things that are like this shady and this obviously, like, I don't want to say fraud because I don't know if that's the proper word, but they're like skirting the system the way that they are. I didn't want to believe that an esteemed law firm was like that corrupt that they would sign off on that. Obviously with Ryan and Blake, it doesn't surprise me that they would do something like this, but I'm kind of like, what attorney is going to put their job on the line for this? Like their job at a really good law firm. Apparently that's just how the world works. And I did not want to see it that way. So I did not want to see it that way. I thought surely there was some legal way, some loophole or something that they found somewhere else. But this does not appear to be legal at all, because what they're claiming it was used for, it doesn't even make sense. Let's look at that quote again. There's nothing unusual about using this kind of mechanism to uncover who's doing things you believe are improper. Okay, but you didn't have to uncover. Again, you didn't have to uncover anything about anyone's identity. You already knew what you were pissed about. You just wanted to invent a story so where you could blame it on some other people. That's ridiculous. You knew exactly who you were targeting. So using a Jane Doe lawsuit, it's not proper. And I'm sitting here confused and I'm racking my brain and I'm trying to make it make sense, but it can't make sense because it's just they did something wrong. So there's no way to make sense of it. And I'm just like, my mind is just like, why? Why? I don't want to believe people could do something like this and just be okay with it and just be like, oh, this is fine. This is proper. And then just go on and like give a quote about it like it's no big deal. I mean, how do you even put that out into the universe and think people aren't going to pick it apart at this point? Hey, Kim, what's going on? Every day I'm amazed at the depth of human stupidity. Good Lord, it's too early for this. Yeah, man. And thank you for joining us again, Kim. We love Kim. Go give Kim a subscribe. But listen, I work with a population that's like very affected by substance abuse and mental illness and stuff like that. So when I see a lot of stuff, like a lot of really evil, bad stuff, in my experience, a lot of that is because of an underlying disease, and there's an explanation for it. So I can kind of like rationalize it in my brain. Like the reason this person did this is because they're sick. It's because they were on mind-altering drugs. But then I'm looking at these esteemed attorneys at a successful law office, and they're doing this for fun. They're fucking around for fun with the system, and they're hurting people with the system, abusing the system to hurt people because they can. They're doing it for fun. They're doing it for money. I'm not used to that, right? So the people that I'm used to seeing do horrible things or accuse people of horrible things wrongfully, or, just like all kinds of bullshit. I'm so used to there being a reason for that. And the reason I'm having such a hard time with this is that there is no reason for this. There was no reason to do this other than to hurt somebody for your material gain. That's a big fucking deal. And it's not just some he said, she said, celebrity bullshit. No, this is a huge fucking deal. People need to know what's going on behind the scenes of these things. Like, they'll rip into anybody and do whatever they can to make it happen. As long as it gets the heat off of them. As long as she didn't have to own up to her mistakes and say, man, I did a really shitty job marketing this movie about domestic violence. by, having my alcohol at parties and talking about things that were related to my businesses and not even like putting up a hotline number or something. Like instead of doing that, they went through all of these steps. So the people who scare me in this world, they're not the people that I see on a regular basis. They're not the patients that I treat. The people that scare me in this world are people who can pretend in everyday life to be some sort of moral, ethical person, or pretend to be a good person and get landed on Time 100's most like most influential people and stuff like that, and just fly like in the public eye and just like get away with this stuff. And then behind the scenes you learn what a terrible person they are, and it's like, if they hadn't fucked with the wrong guy who had proof that they didn't know that he had, if they hadn't fucked with the wrong guy, we may never have known about that. Jesus. Wow. That is so disappointing. And I think I think a lot of people would agree who have watched me and watched how I have tried so hard to be like, no, there's no way this is what happened. There's no way this is what happened, would agree. Like, I'm just having a really hard time accepting that people are this bad. So, that, and on top of everything with the shooting yesterday and how difficult things were with the media, who made the day hell for those of us who have loved ones who were involved, like in the area. No matter what your political beliefs are, it was a hellish day. Okay. And so the media who made that day hell for everyone involved, the families of people who have loved ones on that campus or around that campus, the people who were actually involved and like hunkered down in classrooms or in basements and are like looking at their phones and trying to contact their families and are seeing news outlets reporting multiple shooters and shit like that. Like the way that the media has manipulated things, it's like something that I was blissfully ignorant of until the last several months. I thought, surely it's not that bad. Surely it cannot be that bad. And unfortunately, I'm kind of shaping a little bit more of a cynical view of the world because of these people, because of these things. Because I am now confronted with and can no longer deny that people are actually this fucking horrible. So it's terrible. So yeah, sorry guys. I know I've been getting a little stressed, obviously because of what happened yesterday and just the way like the media manipulates things and the way that people with money can manipulate things and like absolutely ruin somebody who has done everything in the world to make it a better place. From Justin Baldoni, who they themselves admit has been like an avid feminist and like an advocate for women. Jesus. So just seeing all that, like, it does stress me out. It does stress me out. It's okay. People saying I'm so sorry, Lauren. No, it's fine. It is something that I had to learn, unfortunately. And I think it brings me back to like when I was in my early 20s and stuff too, when I was in this period of like deep, deep depression because I was like so sold on everything the media was writing that I thought I was in a much more dire situation than I was actually in. I should have been worrying about school and studying and just like making friends and stuff like that. And I'm out here thinking because of the media that people want to burn me at the stake for being a gay and stuff like that. And it's like, just tell the truth because there are actual issues to talk about, right? There are actual important issues to talk about. So just tell the truth. But they're trying to outdo each other. So they sensationalize everything, they lie about everything, and they scare people. And then these stories, the actual scary things that are happening, they fly under the radar because that also benefits, these companies somehow. So yeah, it's crazy. All right. Well, here's somebody, veteran of a large New York City law firm here. Level of vicious is off the charts. Manik could be removed as counsel, and Samantha will be out on her ass, as they should be. Thank you, Bliss, for contributing here. I appreciate that. So yeah. And all the young kids in this world who have to deal with that world too. It's disgusting. Yeah, dude. I don't know. I'm seeing so much crap going on in the world right now, just in these little issues. And there's so much out there that I don't talk about on YouTube that's disheartening and devastating and scary. And I just like YouTube has to be a break from that for me, so I don't talk about those things on this channel, and I doubt that I ever will. But this is just some example of like some of the horrible shit that's going on in the world where I'm like, I'm so, I don't even want to say confused. It's just like it's reshaping the way that I view things in general. And I feel like that in some ways that has to happen to kind of get me out of the bubble that I was in, where I refuse to believe that stuff like this actually happens. And it's easier to just be like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. But then, dude, it's right here in my face. It's right here in my face. Because I'm telling you, like, I looked at this lawsuit months ago and I thought, this is nothing, right? Surely this is nothing because that would be stupid. And then I never thought about it again. I never connected the dots because I was like, there's no way anyone's this bad or this stupid. And they were. I was wrong. So, Time Magazine, you were right. Blake Lively is a very influential person. She has severely influenced my view on the world in a negative way. Congratulations, Blake. I'll see you guys later.